technology transfer office is where you typically interface with the outside world.
In Egypt, I have learned that the most important driver for change is success.
One of the measures of success of any project is whether it becomes self-sustainable at the end or it dies at the end.
Distinguished universities around the world are going to be closely networked with each other.
I think this will change and shift slowly but surely.
These projects were really a vehicle that really took the Egyptian universities a century above.
Dr. Hassan Azzezi is a professor of chemistry and a researcher at the American University in Cairo. For the past few years, he and his research group have been working on a breakthrough medical diagnostic test.
Currently, hepatitis C virus is diagnosed at two stages. The first stage, the physician will require an antibody test. But if the result of this antibody test is positive, this only means that the patient has been exposed to the virus and not necessarily has active infection with the virus.
The current testing process occurs over two stages and costs around 600 Egyptian pounds or $100 US. And as such, it takes a relatively long time, requires sophisticated laboratory infrastructure, and is costly, especially in the context of a developing country.
In the Novel Diagnostics and Therapeutics Research Group at the American University in Cairo, we have been working on developing a new diagnostic test for hepatitis C virus that is capable of detecting active infection with HCV in a single step.
Dr. Azzezi's research has received widespread recognition in the research community. But for a scientific breakthrough to go beyond the lab and publications, it needed to have a mechanism, a bridge of sorts, to bring it to those who would benefit from it. The lack of specialized technology commercialization offices at the Egyptian universities makes it difficult for industry and universities to have a common vision or an efficient mechanism of sharing their technical expertise.
The whole idea started back in 2008 when we thought about the needs of Egyptian universities to have a technology transfer offices. Then we thought of applying for the TEMPUS grant by submitting a proposal asking for funding to establish those technology transfer offices and to enhance the capacity of the technology transfer officers in Egypt in general. So we thought of selecting specific universities in Egypt. One of them is private, which is the AUC. Cairo University as one of the biggest universities in Egypt. Helwan University, it's a technical university, and it's very important that we know all those technical universities have all the time applied research. And Asyut University, we're trying to serve Upper Egypt.
One of the things I think people are increasingly beginning to understand is that universities play a role not only in producing the next generation of talented, well-trained professionals and responsible citizens, but they also are engines of growth. One of the things that technology transfer offices do is facilitate that role for a university.
Research in Egypt actually has a lot of challenges, I have to say. And particularly when we discuss the relation between research and the business sector. We find a lot that researchers are just publishing for the sake of promotion, whereas industry is just working for the sake of profit. And both sectors don't even talk the same language.
If you are seeking development in many of the MENA countries, like Egypt, you have to transfer the research that's being done at the universities and research institutions to practical applications. And that is the role of the Technology Transfer Office.
The professors usually go out and look for grants to fund the research. The typical end for a research project is usually a publication. More often than not, you see the frustration, or you hear a lot about the frustration on campuses of research or useful research and findings that just sit on the shelf and aren't being utilized by the outside world.
The Technology Transfer Office plays a very important role to evaluate the inventions, see what can be actually applied, and seek also investments.
Tech offices are a very important catalyzer in the middle, because the research by itself, either it is applied or basic, nobody will understand it and understand what does it mean unless somebody tries to make the link and the connection. And the TTOs are for that purpose.
When wisely managed, these offices, they will definitely provide some return on the investment that was made in them. And I think this is very important because these offices, if sustainable, they will definitely slowly change the culture.
TEMPUS programs in general are designed to reform and enhance the higher education system. The project was a great opportunity. It gave tremendous support to the 4 universities to establish technology transfer offices, which is the most difficult part of the process.
The primary target was to establish linkage with other universities abroad, especially in the areas of research, entrepreneurship, and commercialization of research, because this is the future of research in Egypt, and this is the future trend in all higher education institutions.
The project aimed at developing a mechanism of technology transfer and to make the scientific community of the university aware about the possibilities of technology transfer. It aimed at spreading technology transfer knowledge and experiences through the scientific community, as well as conducting actual technology transfer operations at the local, regional, and international levels.
And we also choose the European partner carefully to expose the Egyptian university to different style of technology transfer. So we choose the Politecnico di Torino in Italy, we choose the Free University of Berlin in Germany, Linköping University in Sweden, and the Technical University of Vienna in Austria. We also have other partners, stakeholders, like the 6th of October Investor Association, and we have the EGPO, the Egyptian Patent Office, as well, those as partner, and one of the strategic partner was the STDF, the Science Technology Development Fund.
We value very high cooperation with European Union in the field, especially of innovation and technology development, because the European Union has a very good scheme for funding mechanisms for innovation and technology development.
Establishing such an office of technology transfer is important, not only for one university, but for many universities. And it's actually a part of the university responsibility toward the community service.
This is one of the successful TEMPUS projects that we have with the European partner. We got a very good experience from the European partners. We visited them in Europe, and we visited these offices, how they deal with the researchers, how they deal with the new ideas, patents, IP policy, and so on. So we got a very good experience in this field.
In very few instances, you have professors who are both businessman, inventor, and somebody who knows the market very well and who's done this and can actually bring it all the way from a lab into the hands of a consumer. What you more often have is somebody who's really good at one thing, but who lacks some of the other skills. And what we do is we are here to sort of complement those skills and to garner all this in one place, so that the collective wisdom that comes from doing this over and over again is made use of.
Technology transfer officers and partner institutions needed to not only establish and expand the function, but to make sure that its role, benefits, and the opportunities it presents are well communicated and known campus-wide and beyond.
We thought of a new idea of trying to scout technology and also group it and embed into it some cultural change. So we thought about this competition to announce to the people, so people can come to us as well as we go to them.
As a way to introduce the students to the technology transfer offices, we launched a business idea competition. And that was quite simply an encouragement for students to send forth their technology-based ideas and try and build a business case for them and pitch them in a business plan competition style.
It was amazing that we found a lot of promising ideas, even some international patents that are already published and nobody get use of it.
The business plan and innovations competitions created significant exposure for the TTO function on the university campuses. Existing teams of researchers, as well as newly formed ones, took part in the final rounds of the competition, which led to finalists who were more than 20 undergraduate students from various Egyptian universities going on a 2-week trip to Politecnico di Torino in Italy and receiving training, attending workshops, and enjoying an incubation of sorts to help push their innovations closer to commercialization. Training and engaging the various stakeholders was a top priority for the program. TTO teams received extensive training and exposure on how to assess research for potential commercialization, how to set up companies, licenses, and other commercial vehicles, and how to target venture capital firms and other forms of commercial funding.
There was financial support, which is very important, but I would rank it second. Actually, what I would rank number one is the knowledge transfer or the technology transfer of establishing technology transfer offices. I think this was the most important thing that we received from this project.
The role of the European partners was very crucial to the success of that project. We had 4 technology transfer offices in 4 European universities. Each one of them provided us with lots of training, hands-on training, sometimes theoretical training on invention scouting or commercialization or establishing a startup or incubation program.
Over 245 beneficiaries received training as part of the project's activities, ranging from intellectual property and patent management to invention valuation and feasibility study. Sessions and workshops took place in Egypt, Austria, Italy, Germany, and Sweden.
We had extensive training on all aspects of technology transfer in a basic concept, but at the same time, we did also do a lot of, learning about how their systems work, because as you imagine, it's not a one-size-fits-all. So each country within Europe itself, for example, had a completely different or had, sometimes quite striking variations.
They coach you through the formation of your technology transfer office until you have your own. So we can say that track 1 is the knowledge and expertise transport into the Egyptian universities, and track 2 is the financial support. And both did very well with us.
One of the significant component of the university policy is to assure and maintain quality of its program. So there are many ways to do that, by doing surveys, by investigating the quality of the program through its impact on the participant in the program and so forth. So it is an inherent policy in the university. For this particular project, we have been involved in maintaining the quality of the program and also helping our sister universities in Egypt to maintain the same quality.
We need to encourage the Egyptian scientists and researchers to apply for innovative research and to move from just basic research to applied research with measurable outcomes. This is really a very important issue.
We put a lot of emphasis on supporting researchers to publish internationally, and we put a lot of emphasis on patents and increase the number of patent applications from the Egyptians. And also we try to help them to go into prototype and eventually into a product that will help the economy.
The project coincided with an important junction for research support and funding in Egypt. The recently appointed government has already been engaged in the conversation and is taking serious steps towards increasing support for research and recognizing the importance of bringing homegrown technology and the culture of innovation to the market.
I'm thinking of making bureau or a center for marketing the scientific research. But before marketing the scientific research, we have to put the regulation in a law to regulate what can a scientist do and what can he make, the institution to which he is affiliated, the right of this institution, and the right of the industry or those who will benefit from this research.
Sustainability should look for having a team to work in, and this is one of the key words that we are looking for here at Hillary University. We are not looking for individual work, we're looking for teamwork and collaboration.
Now the Technology Transfer Office is a unit in EUC, recognized and in the budget of the university, and that's something that means that the sustainability of the office in EUC is now assured. And also the sustainability of the other offices in other Egyptian universities are assured by recognizing them by their administration as well.
You cannot make a project for 1 year or 2 years and then once the money is gone, it is gone. So we have to make it sustainable. Once you have this as a catalyst inside the university or research institute, you will be able to find good ideas.
TEMPUS projects in general been the most successful of all the EU projects. It is important for the European Union to be involved in this, building the capacity and the mind of the countries surrounding Europe is going to be helpful in the future.
The project just started right now, because now we have technology transfer offices with technology transfer staff, well trained, and they can go ahead and start commercializing the Egyptian innovation. Not only that, I'm aware of the 4 technology transfer offices are talking to each other about establishing an incubator, so they can incubate innovation that comes out from those universities in those incubators, help the researchers in their universities to start up their own companies in the future. This will bring in more money to the country, more jobs to the country, and that was the ultimate goal of the project.
Dr. Azzezi has been cooperating with the newly established TTO for almost 2 years, and this cooperation saw the application for several patents protecting the technology and bringing it closer to commercial adoption. The TTO has helped the research group protect its invention in more than 147 markets and is now working closely with them to create a spin-off company to commercialize the invention.
The main advantage of the new nanogold hepatitis C virus test, number 1, it can generate result in almost 1 hour. Number 2, it is very sensitive. Number 3, it costs around 1/10 of the cost of current test. So this will be very advantageous, especially in a country with over 10 million people infected. This test will lower the bar to knowledge, will allow people to know their HCV status, and definitely will contribute to reduction of viral transmission in Egypt and around the globe.